I was warned to not get cute. What do I mean by that? By not get cute, I mean writing book after book after book after book after book with my name on them, authoring or co-authoring, that are completely unrelated. There has to be connective tissue within the brains of the public seeing Lisec titles, and it's like there's a word cloud. It's not, okay, he's writing about entrepreneurship, and then he's writing about health, okay, he's politics, current affairs, okay, maybe there's some Maha, Make America Healthy Again kind of connection there, okay, and he writes for business people, okay, and then he writes a book on erotic hypnosis, okay, I can kind of see that, is hypnosis, and then he's writing about tantra, and then he's writing a book about yoga, and then the best ties in shibari. And then his next book is New Testament criticism. Okay, we're done here. So you see, that particular advice was bequeathed to me, and I think that is actually a good example of how I think as a ghostwriter. An author says, I want to write about this, and I want a subject about this, I want a chapter on this, I want a section on this, I'm going to tell my story about this. And they're all over the place and kind of disconnected. And the job of the ghostwriter is to effectively create a coherent, beautiful Venn diagram of everything together. So for example, if you had to find the things about the things that are unrelated, which makes them related, how do you do that? That's ghostwriting, effectively. Creating transitions between and among things that there's no obvious transition between. Or the subjects that have already been written about before, how are you going to do something new? What are you going to add to it that's completely unrelated at first glance, and then make it related? All of this is doable. This is the secret to ghostwriting. This is the secret to ghostwriting, and it's completely unexpected. Now, if there has been with the example of New Testament, if there has been a conservative Christian through line of all of my previous stuff, there's not. But let's say that there is, then it's sort of like the Christian perspective or spin on these different topics that he's writing about. Okay, that would be a little bit closer. That'd be a little bit closer. Look at someone like John Maxwell. He's the inspired leadership author. He writes lots of books on lots of different topics for lots of different audiences, different verticals, different niches. And yet everything is the through line, inspired leadership in that particular profession or industry for that particular readership or audience. And oftentimes with personal branding activities and even rebranding from corporate, there's a sort of like, we can just tell people what we're going to talk about or what we're going to do or sell next, and they'll get it to it. They'll get with it. What was so weird about the Facebook to Meta transition and then the release of the metaverse is, at least in my opinion, it kind of came out of nowhere. But Facebook is where I post photos for my grandma to see. Okay. It's not where I go to hang out with my friends in virtual reality. What? No, that's not a thing. That's just not something that happens. If I remember correctly, Meta/Facebook purchased Oculus from Palmer Luckey, right? Does that sound familiar? I think that's right. Why? Why was the metaverse? What was that? Multiple billions of dollars, I think, invested in that venture. Why? What is the job to be done that Facebook's currently doing, or that Facebook could do, that is a related job? That's why the job to be done model, framework of reality is so useful. People will say, well, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse, says Henry Ford. Yeah, no, not exactly. What do they want? I want to be able to get to Cincinnati in less than a day from Columbus. I want to be able to engage in business or in other transactions or in pleasure and entertainment upon arriving in a city. I do not want to have to go to the livery and spend 90 minutes doing blah, blah, blah. Like getting specific around that, you can learn what tool you should create for the jobs to be done. Remember, the jobs to be done formula is when I blank, I want to be able to blank so that blank. When I want to be able to B so that C. And all of the work that I do, they're related jobs, right? I want to be, when I have a new personal goal, I want to be able to follow the system for it so that I can achieve it. That is the Joshua Lisec set of jobs to be done. Every book I have ever authored myself falls under that, whether they're books that are on communism or on nutrition or on some other related topic like entrepreneurship, book publishing for entrepreneurs, okay? Sales advice. Everything falls within it. That is the through line for everything. There is a system for everything. There's a system for producing fantastic books. There is a system for defeating the far left in America today and in anywhere they show up. There is a system for radically effective nutrition for your life. Make America healthy again, right? There's a system for genius in all of those things. And it's because I have this varied ghostwriting experience across all industries, I'm able to basically put forth the system for genius for that particular subject matter. Could I actually pull off a book on Shibari? Absolutely. But the title and subtitle would need to make it make sense. I couldn't just release, okay, here's Kinbaku, erotic Japanese rope bondage type of activities, right? Here we're going to start a club over here. I couldn't just do that, right? There has to be some sort of a greater job to be done, right? So maybe it's, what's the packaging? Okay. People know that I've ghostwritten relationship books. They know that I've ghostwritten divorce law books, domestic relations type of books. And they also know that I'm a hypnotist. So what sort of like a book, something like erotic persuasion or eros and persuasion, that would be an incredible book that would just absolutely blow things up. It would be amazing. See how it's close enough to what people already know me for with this with persuasion stuff, right? Because persuasive ghostwriting and copywriting and sales and propaganda spotting and these sorts of things, and writing persuasive books and moving people. And I talk about this sort of stuff so much, and hypnosis being subconscious persuasion. If I did arrows and persuasion, guess what? I could write a book about Shibari. So you see that? That's what I mean by the Venn diagram and the overlap. And eros and persuasion, right? It just kind of comes together. I think of the book The Art of Seduction, by the way, actually, which was not really a useful book. I was actually hoping it would teach the art of seduction. It most certainly did not. It was sort of a historical analysis of seduction circumstances, and I'm reading this, and I'm learning absolutely nothing from this. Sorry. This is just not helpful to me. In any case, that's Daily Persuasion.